Hey guys, it's Reverend Neil. Sending a little message to you. I'm sitting in my office in my house right now, and just been thinking about you and how you've been doing over this pandemic. And I've been reading a book. It's called Metamorphosis, which is a fancy word for change, and it's written by a woman named Sarah Travis. And Sarah is actually a friend of mine, and so I'm reading her book, and I've just gotten a little ways into it, and really enjoying it so far, finding it really challenging. But there's a part in this book that I thought, you know what? I agreed with it so greatly, and I thought, this would be a message that I think the kids at St. Andrews need to hear. It's from the very beginning of her book in the Acknowledgements, where she thanks everyone, for their help while writing the book. And the last people that she thanks are her daughters, and her daughters are maybe a little bit younger than most of you. Probably, well, maybe that's not true. They're maybe 6 and 8 years old, so just a little bit younger than you guys when I think back on it. But she writes this in her acknowledgments, and she writes to them. She says, to Ella and Olive, she writes, if you choose to follow Jesus, I hope the church in which you worship will understand its own vulnerability and the potential that lies in laying down its life for its friends. And I read that sentence, which she wrote to her daughters, to her little girls, and I just thought it was absolutely wonderful. And I thought, I hope the same thing for my boys, and I hope the same thing for you and your families. Not just in the church that you might go to when you're grown up, but of course in this church too. But what I really enjoyed about it was there wasn't an assumption that her daughters would follow Jesus. She says, if you choose to follow Jesus. So as you grow up and as you learn about the church and as you learn about Jesus, I hope you'll ask questions. And of course, I do hope that you will choose to follow Jesus. But I want you to know that no matter what decision you make about your life, we're going to love you and support you anyways, whether you like it or not. And then it was that part, I hope that the church in which you worship will understand its own vulnerability and the potential that lies in laying down its life for its friends. And that's really just, that's a lot of words to say. I hope that the church that you worship in knows how to love each other really well. And I think that our church is really good at loving one another and sharing that love that we have for one another in God. I think we're really good at doing that. But maybe sometimes we aren't. And if we aren't, and you ever wonder about that, I hope that you'll be comfortable enough and know that you're loved enough and respected enough that you can say, hey, I have a concern about this and I'd like to talk to you about it, and that you can share that concern. Because as a community of faith that loves Jesus and professes to follow Jesus, being vulnerable with one another and loving one another is what we're all about. At the root of the gospel, of the Bible, at the heart of the Christian faith, it's all about how we accept and how we love one another. And so I hope that St. Andrews is that type of a place for you. I hope you have a wonderful summer. I'll have some other messages up for you over the course of the summer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you when we return to in-person worship in September. I think that's going to be a wonderful time that we're going to just be able to celebrate with one another. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all and hearing all your stories and listening to everything that you have to share. So until then, stay safe and remember that you are loved.